He is a Republican running for Congress in New Jersey's 9th congressional district. Billy Prempeh is here to talk about the release of the Epstein Files, the fact that Hakeem Jeffries solicited Epstein for donations after the guy was a convicted child predator, how foreign governments have pledged trillions in investments to the U.S., and how the Trump administration is once again going after New Jersey's sanctuary cities. There's a lot on the agenda here. Good morning to you, Billy.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. I only gave you a few things to talk about here. So we have both houses voting to release the Epstein files. Of course, the Democrats were trying to flash the shiny object over here to get people off the narrative of the fact that they destroyed the economy and the government and everything with shutting down the government, all for a political vendetta. Now that it's reopened, they tried to change the subject, hoping that Trump would be mixed up with this, but it looks like ain't nothing Trump on that list.
Well, yeah, you know what? At the end of the day, I'm just happy to finally see the Epstein files getting released. It's something that I've wanted to see since even 2020. And I think that there's Republicans and Democrats both on both sides of the aisle that have their reasons as to why they don't want it to be released. But regardless of that, the American people deserve some transparency. The victims of Epstein deserve transparency. But I think it's very shocking what we saw happening with Hakeem Jeffries, not just soliciting donations, but there's also been a revelation that the congresswoman from the Virgin Islands, Plaskett
Virgin
herself, is
Islands.
also receiving messages from Jeffrey Epstein in the middle of a hearing Trump's lawyer. And the issue that I have with that is I can only see how deep it goes. I think we're going to find out some more revelations, and I think that whoever was doing anything illegal, they should be held accountable and brought to justice.
And the amazing thing, Billy, is the Democrats, kept referring to Epstein as my constituent, a constituent. What a constituent? A criminal. He was a convicted sexual child predator at that point. And they're saying, my constituent is texting me. I don't know about you. I don't text. Do you text the current congresswoman from your district while she's in the middle of a vote? I don't. I've been on the networks for 35, 40 years. I don't have direct access to my Congress people in the middle of a vote. So clearly there was a little, as they say in Italian, a little scarol passing through here. I don't want to make any accusations against the Congresswoman from the Virgin Islands, but why did Epstein have her on speed dial, and why was he able to directly control what she was asking at that time? That was clearly horrible, and yet Congress did not vote to censure her. Why? Why are the Republicans so afraid to condemn Democrats doing things like this?
Because this is the truth that I don't think a lot of people want to hear. I think that there are some Republicans that have gotten involved with Jeffrey Epstein and they're trying to cover their own tail. I think Democrats, Republicans, and people across the aisle have some kind of tie with Jeffrey Epstein, and it needs to all be brought into life. Why was the Congresswoman Plaskett texting him? I wish I had that kind of convenience to reach out to my congressperson. But him living in the Virgin Islands, I think that she's someone we need to definitely look into, considering that that's where Jeffrey Epstein was also from. I'm pretty sure that the rabbit hole goes much deeper, and we already see smoke. So there's definitely got to be a fire somewhere.
So what do they say about donors, the mother's milk of politicians in Congress? So you see somebody worth hundreds of millions of dollars like Epstein. By the way, no one really knows how he got hundreds of millions of dollars, and I'm sure that's going to be part of this. I mean, was he a double agent? Was he getting paid from our government and from the Mossad? There's all these little conspiracy theories floating out there. It might just be he inherited a lot of money. Who knows? But we got to get to the bottom of this because this is stinking to high heaven. President Trump, speaking of a lot of money, President Trump has gotten at least $10 trillion in U.S. investment pledges from a bunch of foreign leaders. Most recently, yesterday, the Saudi prince pledging $1 trillion in U.S. investment. The same guy, by the way, who would not talk to Biden. When Biden would call, he wouldn't return his phone calls, and Biden had nasty things to say about him. But yet, this has gotten no coverage from legacy media. This would have been front page at any time in the past, but because it's Orange Man bad, zero crickets from mainstream media.
Listen, I've already grown to not get a lot of opinions from the mainstream media. I could care less whether they report it or not. I'm very happy that we actually do have some investment happening here in the United States. I think that this is going to lead to more jobs. It's going to lead to more jobs, more investments, and it's going to lead to an infrastructure that needs to desperately be repaired. I'm looking forward to seeing what President Trump is going to do with other countries and what other investments we're going to be taking on into our country. But I think also the more important question I want to know is what's in it for the deal for Saudi Arabia and for the other countries. I know investing is one thing, but what do they want in return? And if it's a balanced deal and it works out for the United States, I would love for a lot more to happen.
It would be nice to see, along with that, if they sign on to the Abraham Accords, and then we finally get some action of peace, legitimate long-term peace in the Middle East, because how Saudi Arabia goes, the rest of 2 billion Muslims on this planet will go. They lead it. They are the Mecca, so to say, because Mecca is there. So it would be nice to see if we could start that process. And then the Trump administration has sued New Jersey's sanctuary cities, says it will move forward with plans to cut federal funding to cities pursuing sanctuary status like Newark, Jersey City, Hoboken, and you happen to know the city of Patterson. And that could cost these cities millions of dollars in federal revenues. At the same time, illegals are draining the cities of state and local resources. So how long can these cities keep it up, and when will voters finally say enough? We have debts up to here. We can't afford to pay $100 million toward illegals coming into our cities.
See, and that's the thing that's frustrating is because the constituents that some of these elected officials claim to represent, they don't listen to them when it comes to things like this. Crime has gone up. Housing has gotten more expensive. It's difficult for people to even find parking here in the city of Patterson. A lot of people I see on the road, I know for a fact, are not supposed to be here or definitely shouldn't be parking on this block. But these are issues that people are facing all across the state. And the fact that several cities are standing up to prevent the federal government from doing their job, this is literally what we voted for. Americans should be put first. It should be Americans only. If you want to come into the country legally, by all means, but you got to do it the right way. I think that President Trump needs to ramp up these deportations, and for everyone that's in the way, trying to prevent this, I think that the American voters should vote these people out, especially here in the city of Patterson. Elections are coming up right around the corner in May, so I hope people choose wisely and get a better mayor because I'm not voting for this guy.
There you go. How can they support you, Billy? What's your website?
Visit my website, www.billyprempeh.com, and follow me on social media to stay in the loop.
We got to get this guy elected. Republican running for Congress in New Jersey's 9th congressional district in next year's midterm elections. Get that name, Billy Prempeh. Prempeh. Thank you for coming on as always, Billy. We appreciate you.
Anytime, Ken. Take care.